One Clara's testimony. My husband had been prescribed a lot of medication for dementia and stress. And while taking them, in 2018 he fell and broke his nose and injured his teeth. He was scheduled for surgery at the hospital to have 7 teeth extracted and gums removed. Because of the severe pain, I received energy through a video call with Godman, who is in Korea, from Germany. The next day, my teeth were completely fixed in place, as if they were set in concrete. So, I stopped taking all my medications in one day and called Kyung Young instead. And I no longer needed medication. 2 weeks later, in June 2018, my husband, who had difficulty walking, and I visited Hanulgang where Godman resided. Within a day, I was able to walk without a wheelchair. And looked as vibrant as before. I had used a wheelchair when I came to Korea, but after returning from Germany, I was able to walk with only a cane. Later, when the deity extended my life, I asked my husband. His lifespan is 80 years. Should I extend it to 120? He replied, Baekgung is better. Please let me live as I wish and go to Baekgung without pain. In June 2020, when COVID-19 was at its peak, my husband fell and fractured his leg. He underwent surgery, but fluid accumulated in his leg, and it was difficult for him to walk. He had always heard from the dream Godman that he would visit every other day to treat him. One day, I had a dream where Godman came and massaged my husband's leg. So, as soon as I woke up in the morning, I pulled back the blanket and looked at my husband's massaged leg. The swelling had completely drained, and only my left toe was slightly swollen. A few days later, my left toe was also healed, and it returned to normal. So I was able to completely stop taking the remaining medication. On days when Godman visited my husband in his dreams, he would feel more energetic and his memory would improve. Every time, I would cry and apologize for causing him such trouble. On May 13, 2021, my husband used to frequently swallow food after eating, but one day, his lungs developed inflammation, and he developed a fever due to fluid buildup. Suddenly, my husband went into a coma. I contacted his doctor and received medical attention. I quickly made preparations. I immediately explained the situation to Godman and did my best to take his words to heart. I remembered what my parents used to do and cut his fingernails and toenails and shaved his beard for the last time. Due to COVID-19, all hospitals were closed, and I couldn't tell which hospital my husband would be taken to. So I sent him alone in the ambulance and waited for the doctor to call. Even after he was admitted, I couldn't visit him. To me, the angel dreamed every day of my husband lying alone in the hospital room, receiving IV drips and oxygen, and showing me the ward. On the 3rd day, the doctor gave permission to visit, and I thought the final moments had arrived. Arriving at the hospital room with the children, I remembered the YouTube video that Godman had shared. So I opened the window slightly and placed a glass of water next to the bed. And so, 3 days after my husband was admitted, on May 15, 2021, at 5:00 p.m., he passed away in a coma, painlessly and comfortably, at the age of 77. On the day my husband arrived at Baekgung, he was walking between the steep cliffs, which were 90-degree angles on both sides, without a single tree, not a single bird, and not a single blade of grass. He was being guided by a man. On the cliff to the right, I saw a cave. Several people were lying on military cots, stretched out in a rope. My husband laid down on the prepared bed, and God placed a small, green tree of life next to him. Then, a white-robed angel, holding my husband, Young Hun, in his arms, ascended to heaven. He drew a heart shape for me with a white cloud, and bid me farewell. Like white cotton, I drew a square on the dazzling, beautiful cloud, and a door opened, just big enough for one person to enter. As soon as the angel entered, the door disappeared without a trace. Godman showed me the process of passing through the Baekgung gate, using the blessing and nameplate he had given during his lecture. And in 2020, Godman granted me the path to Baekgung with the Baekgung nameplate and blessing, and gave me time to say goodbye to my husband, whom I had loved for 35 years, and granted me the greatest gift, even the gift of death. I am infinitely grateful to Godman, and I adore you forever. November 8, 2023, Clara, Germany.